we're gonna walk through importing contacts and companies into the Brilliant Directory database. I just started. I'm new as the community I run is aware of. We're trying to build a directory site to house all things for that industry, make it easier for the industry to find things and those that want to pursue that industry. So I've had some starts and stops already in my young tenure of playing around with Brilliant Directory. So Dana, thanks for jumping on and giving me a hand.
Oh yeah, I've been doing this stuff for a while. I've fumbled my way through plenty, made plenty of mistakes with different platforms, with trying to do this stuff on WordPress and trying to do some stuff with eDirectory, which has a great platform, by the way. But the tools and features inside Brilliant Directories, I just think are unmatched in the industry. And we kind of got connected, Eric, because you're doing some vacation. I didn't even realize when we first got connected, you're like focused on some vacation stuff. And I actually have mainvacations.com as one of my domains.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's super helpful because you get it. You know the space. You've already sort of established one instance of it. So yeah, to find somebody, and I found you through YouTube. I found you by kind of talking about your experience on the directory site. So YouTube works, and
that's good.
yeah, no, thanks for the mentorship so far.
Well, yeah, well, I enjoy it and I enjoy this stuff. I appreciate your friendship and just being able to get on here and talk all things like whether it's directory or just business in general. Cause I feel like that's a missing gap for me. Like you come to the table with like a lot of experience across, helping multiple companies and all of that. But I think you get the mindset of how do we help the customer? How do we help the person that's going to visit the website? How do we help the business on the other side? How do we get these two connections happening? And that is where directories really shine. So I know that you've got a couple challenges we want to walk through today, and I'm going to walk you through these from my own experience. And so one of those challenges is that you want to, as before you import these contacts that you're looking for, and we've got kind of a sample set up, which you've received. So you've got a few contacts that you're going to bring into Brilliant Directories. But before we do that, we actually want to take a step so that we can create this in such a way that the person coming to the site can claim their listing.
Yeah.
And that's going to be an extra step we haven't even talked about really, but I'm going to walk you through that, Eric. So when you're ready, share your screen and let's dive into this.
So yeah, so here is my desktop, and this is where I'm at with the Brilliant Directory kind of control panel, if you will.
Yeah.
Let's sort of do what I was trying to do, and maybe given that I think I've experienced some challenges myself by just downloading some of the templated docs that Brilliant Directory provides. I think we found maybe an opportunity to change the doc itself to move things up in the major header of the spreadsheet. So
That's right. That header, that template that's provided here. So when you go ahead and do that. When you go to this page, you're going to see a place the import guide is going to be at the top. Got to make sure you take time with that import guide. And there's going to be some sample files in there. So Eric, would you go ahead and click before we do the import? Would you go ahead and click that import guide for a minute?
You bet.
So there's going to be a couple samples that are in here. So we can do just a really short sample. And there's also like with all the fields. So you have options here. So you have example of a complete import with all fields, and then example of a complete or a completed simple basic import file. So you've got those samples that you can look at and you can start to populate those. So we already have one created. We've already taken this sample. We've already populated some information in it. So that's what we're going to use on the import. But I know, Eric, that you said that one of the goals for your site is that you want to have the member be able to claim their listing.
Yeah.
So in order for us to be able to do that, we need to actually do one thing first. So on the left-hand side, I want you to click the finance or hover over finance and then choose membership plans.
Okay.
And this is part of the plugin pack, with which the plugin pack is super powerful. We're going to go to the top and we're going to say new membership plan. And now let's just create a membership plan name called claim listing. So at the very top, let's just call it claim listing, and then change the account type to claim, and that's going to force them to do the join. So when they go to claim, they do the join. Now they could still do a free plan. They could still claim it and do a free plan. That's still a possibility. But this is going to allow them to join as they're claiming a listing. My options that I selected on my on loghome.net, I have this on loghome.net. I did claim, of course, /join is the claim listing link, none selected down below that. And then you can really fine tune this. If you have a specific email that you want to send, now this is just going to basically say action required, verify your email address. If they're not verifying your email address, you don't want them to claim the listing, right? If they
Right.
can't even verify that they own the email, then they should not have the ability. So then make the account active. You can also say, I want to put it on hold until it's approved, and that would be that one right there. Yep. If you click that drop down, on hold requires approval. So if you want to have control over that, or you want a team to have control over that, you can do that. We're not going to do that here. We're just going to say, let's just say account is active. And then you get a lot of bells and whistles, a lot of things you can tweak here. Let's not worry about this too much, but down at the bottom, I do want to note something here, up just a little bit. You can also dictate, when they claim a listing, which options, which listing plans are even available to them. So maybe if they're going to claim a listing, maybe it's not free anymore. Maybe it's going to be one of these paid plans, or maybe it's, only going to have, you only want plans that have certain options when they're coming in through this gateway, right? Through this funnel.
Got it.
So that's cool. You can control that. We're not going to control this. That's outside of the scope of what we want to achieve here. We want to just be able to get some listings in here. So now that we've done this, let's just go ahead and save changes.
Okay. And I think, is that up here? Save changes.
And now what we want to happen is we want to go back to your import. We're done there. Yep. Search members, import. Yep. Okay. Now where we assign the membership plan, go ahead and click that drop down. And now we're going to choose claim listing. That is going to make these sample people that we're bringing in with the ability to claim it.
Oh, okay.
And we can choose whether or not we want to set them as active or not active or what. So we can leave that on active for now.
Okay.
And something else that's cool is that we can create a tag here. So let's create a tag and let's call it a sample import. That will help us when we want to drill down and we want to filter and we want to look at this list of people that we're bringing in. So let's just do sample import. And then we have options here like, man, have you ever seen a site, Eric? I don't know about you, but I have, especially in this space with directories, where the same business is listed more than one time.
Oh, yeah.
And it's frustrating because you're like, which one do I select? So what we want to do is we want to limit. We don't want multiple accounts created. So we leave that top one unchecked. Yeah. And then create the new member categories if they don't exist. Well, we actually put some member categories into our file. So let's check that box. That's really what we're going to do. That's it. Because they're going to claim it. We're not necessarily importing user images. So now browse to the sample file and begin import.
Right.
And then what we'll do is after we'll actually take a look at this file and see what's created.
Okay. All right.
So what we're looking for here is we want to make sure what's on the left-hand side matches the preview and matches the right-hand side. Now, if we leave the header alone on the CSV template that they give us, then this will happen naturally. But Eric, as you discovered, inside numbers on a Mac, sometimes that header can get jacked with. Yep. And when that header gets pushed down, the import is going to be kind of messed up. Yeah. So we'll take a look at what a good file should look like when you're done with it. So we have company. I love aliens LLC. Well, that sounds like a great company name. And then we've got that matching company on the right hand side. We've got an email sw at thisismydomain.com, which matches the email address. Well, that looks good. Then we've got first name Sigourney, last name Weaver here. So you're getting the gist of the alien theme. And then we've got a listing type as a company. Now it could be an individual as well, but we're just going to, for most people, I think company is going to get them started. So let's just focus on that. And that is the listing type on the right-hand side. And profession name matches profession name, which is acting. Services matches services, which is talent scout. Now, when you look at this, and if you've done this right, that left-hand column, the column from header, and the right-hand column, the directory property, that should match.
Got it.
So when those two match, then and your document is filled out correctly, then you should be able to go ahead and continue with the import.
All right, let's do it.
Now that was a sample of just line 1 of the file.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So I'm going to not do this right now.
Yeah, you can just cancel that for now. Doing the things with the geocode and anything that's got to do with Google Maps, that's going to be better once you've got your API key in for geocode outside of the scope of this video, but Brilliant Directories has some great tutorials on that. And now you should be able to go to members on the left-hand side, search members, and we should see our import.
There you go. Boy,
cool.
All
right.
Compared to my first several attempts, it was not working.
All right. So now also what we can do is on the left-hand side. Now we want those categories to create automatically from the file. That's just going to save a lot of time and energy. And that actually happened because when you see a lot of the sample data up here at top, but if you scroll down to the bottom of the list, you're going to see that. Actually, it's not at the bottom, is it? These are alphabetized. Are they alphabetized?
Oh, I had to move
acting.
it.
Oh, there's acting. Oh, page 2. Okay. So acting got created, and that was a top level category that we put in the profession field of that file. We'll go look at that file in a minute. But there's also the subcategories that also got created. So if you scroll up on this and you look at subcategories.
Where do I go for that?
Yep. Right at the top and do the sub level. Yep. And now scroll down. You got your general ones that just created automatically, but now we have talent scout, talent agent, consulting. Those got created automatically for us as category sub levels.
Got it.
All of that gets created from the CSV file, which is super cool. Now, if you want, let's switch over and let's go to your CSV.
To the document itself?
Yep.
Can you see it?
Yep. So here we have the CSV. This is just created with some sample data. And you see we have a profession name and the service. Now, notice we didn't fill in like the phone number and all that information. I think that's pretty well self-explanatory, but the addresses, the city, the city, state, the combination of that with the country code, US or CA for Canada or whatever the country is, the combination of all of that is going to automatically geocode that in the website. You don't have the geocode turned on now, but that's basically how that works. So when you've got a good list, you're going to have all of that information populated in there for you when you import, and then you're going to automatically be able to geocode, and those are going to automatically populate with their locations, which is really cool because then when you search, you can also search by region. It shows you on a map. It'll show you on a map on the listing page where they're at. All of that just kind of happens automatically in the background.
That's great.
Now, Eric, you had an issue with this, and in numbers, it seemed that, see that gray bar at the top where that's the header row. That gray bar is the header row. So if you do this and your header row shows up with empty spots in it and everything is pushed down by 1 so that you've just got an empty line at top, you basically got to move everything up so that header row is populated with that listing type, first name, last name, email, company, all of that stuff.
Yep. Yeah, that's the multiple try issue that I had. And honestly, I think we pointed it out earlier. When you download the Brilliant Directory template, it has the items on that second row. So that's why I didn't even think about it. So anyway, but yeah, now I know, and now we all know.
Yeah, yeah. And so on the left hand side, it says company. You can have company or an individual here as well. Um, it just depends on how you're laying out your directory. Now I know, Eric, setting this up the first time can be overwhelming. However, I would say my recommendation is if you're just getting started with this and you're trying to walk through these steps piece by piece, take your time with the tutorials that are built in. And when you go to your dashboard for the first time inside your directory website, actually, it's going to be there till you've like finished the setup process. There is going to be a place in there that's going to walk you through all of those steps. And it's going to make your life a lot easier if you just take your time and go through them. There's a lot of skirting around. I want to get this done. I want to see how that looks. And it's from my experience from Brilliant Directories, it's like take time, think about it, get some sample data in there like you just did so that you can see how things work together and play together. And then when you're ready, you can just blow away that sample data and then you can load in your good stuff, when
Yeah.
you're ready. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's there's a lot here. My journey has just started. so
Yeah.
so every bit of time, Dana, you and I get to spend on the phone and looking at computers has been super helpful. And I mean, look, let's continue to do these touch bases, and maybe others can learn. While I go through this journey, and you sort of co-pilot my journey, and yeah, maybe people can do it a lot easier and faster, and just be better equipped to get on with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Get it done. I mean, I was passionate about, I've got quite a few domains that are kind of like considered premium domains
Yeah.
and the stuff I haven't even developed yet.
Right.
Because I'm like, how am I going to launch this? How am I going to solve a problem? And I'm passionate about it, but it's like, and then you all of a sudden things start to click together and you're like, oh, I can do it this way. I can do it that way. Now's the time to pull the trigger and get that going. And that's kind of what happened from what your experience with me. He was like, I'm considering this. I'm considering this. Brilliant Directories finally threw you one of those deals that you're like, oh, I got to
Okay.
pull the trigger. I can't wait any longer.
Yeah, and funny enough, since I started talking about this in the vacation rental professionals group that I moderate and on LinkedIn, people have been reaching out about, hey, we see what you're trying to do. We'd love to, kind of participate, when and where you see possible. So, this is, for that industry, it's sort of long overdue to have something that can rationalize all the things of things in
Yeah.
that category for everybody that's in that space. So
Yeah.
this is a give back project to
Yeah.
to make it easier for an industry to get on with doing what they do.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And you're serving. It's funny because you've got the problem where you had the audience, and then you're going back to a directory service now to tie things off to give them the offering to be able to advertise. I've had the opposite problem because I've had the passion, the domain, and tried to build it without the audience.
Yeah.
And now I'm like stumbling through it all over again as I try and rethink and retool. And I'm moving mainvacations.com from eDirectory to Brilliant Directories now. And it's a challenge. It's fun though. And I think for both of us, we'd like to solve problems.
We do. We do.
Yeah.
Well,
That's our mindset. So
let's continue solving some problems.
yeah, awesome.
Well,
Very
thanks a
good.
lot. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it. And yeah, hopefully folks that see this, it's helpful. And I would suggest definitely subscribing to Dana's channel.
Oh,
And
I
what was the
appreciate
channel
that.
again?
Zero to income.
Your income.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Sean and I run Zero to Income. We're trying to bring businesses from nothing, little startup ideas to something where, you're turning it into income now. I appreciate that. Thank you.
you bet. Yeah. That's how I found you. And look, it's a super helpful resource.
Appreciate it. All right. Well, with that, next time we'll be digging into something else.
All right. Thanks a lot, Dana.